Local productions seen on Delta College Public Media are made possible with support from viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Junia Doan's The Spark. I'm Junia Doan, and thank you for joining us today. With me is Linda Gruber, Site Manager for Hemlock Semiconductor's trichlorosilane facility in Midland, Michigan. Welcome, Linda. Linda, tell us as a good definition of what Hemlock Semiconductors makes.
Sure. So when I explain to high school or middle school students when I go in their classrooms, I take a view of how many students are in the classroom, and let's say there are 30. I will ask all 30 of them, do you have cell phones? All 30 of them say yes. I ask then 10 of them to stand up. And I say, the 10 of you have a piece of Hemlock's polysilicon that we make in your cell phone. I asked the whole group if they all have TVs at home. And they say yes. I asked for another 10 to stand up. And then I ask, do all of you have a computer at home? I asked for the last 10 to stand up. Because Hemlock makes the material for that electronic device that we are 30% of the world. So 1 out of every 3 electronic devices has our raw material in it.
And what is that raw material?
It's called polysilicon.
And can you explain what it is?
Polysilicon is utilized for so we're at the lower end of the supply chain. Our customers take our polysilicon, they melt it down, they make it into an ingot, they slice it into wafers, they make that wafer and cut the wafer into many small pieces and add the electronics onto the silicon wafer, and that is allowing the usage of that electronic.
That sounds like a very sophisticated process.
Sophisticated, it's a high chemical process and a high quality process. Our process itself for the semiconductor industry is 11 nines. So 99.9999999% pure.
What is the basis? What is the basic material and where do you find it?
Our basic material is trichlorosilane at the Hemlock facility, and that trichlorosilane is actually coming from the Midland plant.
And is it something that's mined or found or created?
No, trichlorosilane is a reaction of hydrochloric acid and silicon metal. So silicon metal that is made as our raw material in the Midland plant.
And so what did you study in school that made you eligible for this kind of a job?
We have chemical process operators at our site. We have engineers and multiple facets of engineers, right? We need the mechanical engineers, we need the electrical engineers, computer engineers, instrumentation, mechanical, chemical, throughout all of our processes.
What are some of the opportunities you have in this new job?
Hemlock always worked with Midland. That was where our supply always came from. So they were what we would call our raw material or our vendor. So our relationship was at a vendor level. Now it's part of our home. It's now an extension of our Hemlock facility. And now we can become the same team. Like I talked about, quality is number one in Hemlock. And therefore now being on the same team, we can have that collaboration between the two sites and that ease of understanding and assisting in if either site was in need of something, we can do that collectively now between the two sites.
Is there a different standard when you manufacture these for, say, the military?
I apologize. Say
For
that
military use, is there a different standard, even higher
No, 'cause
standard?
it's still electronic. It's still the electronic quality, the high purity, 11 nines.
I see. Is there much overtime in your job?
There is opportunity for time outside the daily schedule. Being a part of manufacturing, you're always part. Manufacturing is 24/7. So the operators, the engineers can make contact with us at any time.
But in a sense, that's great fun, isn't it?
Oh, yes. And that is a big part of HSC, right? Our culture is the very exciting thing about my role, and being able to what I call extend that culture into the Midland site and the folks that work for me in the Midland site is just exciting in itself.
What is that culture?
Oh, being a part of a winning team, being a part of knowing that what you do is important, having a say in what we do as an employee, and that's whether that is me, an operator, or an engineer. We all have a say in what we do. And I think the biggest part of that is just watching us grow every day, getting a little bit better every day as a team. We're one team, and now I can bring that one team between both the Hemlock site and the Midland site, that collaboration of people. And I think the biggest part of HSC is the point of being able to have fun. Just for an example, this past week, many of us are at home because of COVID. We had a virtual Disney trivia. All employees could join. It was done at lunch. It was just a lot of fun.
How do you keep people, or including yourself, fresh, that you're always trying to work at that continuous improvement level?
Our executive team gives us that opportunity by challenging us across the board, whether that's in new opportunities for HSC, whether that's in cost opportunities, process improvements, challenging each and every one of us, again, all the way across the board, one team, to be able to improve, optimize as best as we can.
Would you say it's a repetitive job?
Oh, no, not at all. It's I should say it's repetitive of understanding our roles and responsibility or our production targets, but it's not repetitive on a day-to-day basis of what could come up, what needs attention to. It's something definitely day-to-day differences.
What I'm trying to get myself to understand, and perhaps the audience understand, are there cycles of production, or is every day pretty much the same and the challenge is to meet the standard continuously?
We have, on a yearly basis, we have times that we have to reduce rates for planned outages. But the overall production planning is forecasted very well over the whole year period. Now, with that said, if we had issues, definitely we have to make changes with that, with whatever has occurred.
Now, switching somewhat, you have 4 children.
I do.
That's quite a responsibility for anyone. What were the values you tried to instill in them?
Honesty, integrity, work hard, be yourself, be mindful of the people around you, listen. Listen to what they have to say, learn from what they say, acknowledge them, and be true to your heart, and respect.
That's a great gift you made them, not only the qualities, but the practicing of listening or hearing or both. Does the company have values that they like to review for people who join the company?
Oh, our values link, and I am very proud to be able to extend the same values that I have and see those values at HSC as well. Listening, being very open at the same time, work hard, defined roles and responsibilities, being able to be a part of our community as well. I think that is one of the big values that HSC provides me with, is being able to be a part of our community.
And you do
And
so
really-
much. Tell us something about what you do.
Sure. Volunteering. I am a part of our care committee at HSC, which that is coordinated with the Tri-County, so Saginaw Community Foundation, Bay Community Foundation, and Midland Community Foundation, of being able to assist and help and grant, providing grants to groups that are in need. Being able to volunteer with United Way, being able to volunteer with Junior Achievement, being able to go to our local schools near us and being able to talk to students, giving them the understanding of what HSC is all about, but yet what it means to be a part of the community as well. Reaching out and providing opportunity for our folks in our community as well.
You know, when our daughter was, I think, in 2nd grade at Hanley, 1st or 2nd, they brought over a prisoner in shackles to the class. And the young man said, "Don't do what I did," right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was quite memorable. But it put it in my mind on the plus side for a 2nd, 3rd grader. You know, she can think of being a policeman or a fireman, something you can see. But how do you get over building or engineering? And are there programs like that? Have you been involved with them?
Yes, there's what we call the STEM program, and that is where any employee can be a part of, but it's with local high schools, now incorporated into middle schools and even incorporated into elementary schools. And that's really incorporating the science and technology. And us as employees being able to volunteer and assist the children in putting robotics together. So it's robotics and helping the students learn and go through the frustration, learn how to manage change. It's just an awesome opportunity. We actually have Hemlock supported the robotics building that was constructed at the Hemlock Public Schools. And that will be the home for multiple school districts. Hemlock, Merrill, St. Charles, Swan Valley, being able to utilize this building and just watch the engineering grow. Just watch that science and technology grow within the children. And again, that's not just at a high school level. It's at a middle school level and at an elementary level.
That's thrilling. That is really thrilling. Can you teach enthusiasm?
I think you can, because if it's in your heart, you're showing that as you're teaching, right? You're showing that love of what you do and that love of learning, and you're just instilling them. You're becoming potentially a mentor. You're becoming someone who can nonchalantly talk about, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? Do you want to come back to Hemlock to live? What opportunities are around here, whether that's with Hemlock or any other company base? I think that's the opportunity that we have for these young children.
You know, Americans are very unusual because they come from a can-do history, a pioneer history. And so they were used to solving their own problems. And even though government is now much bigger than it was at the beginning, still that thread of, can we solve the problem? Can we help our neighbor? We saw that in the flood. You know, can a neighbor help us? Who's around that, you know, can tinker in my garage with me? And I'm just so glad to see that or hear about that you're doing something for the very young, because, you know, the stuff that's out there, a lot of it could be avoided. And it's nice to know they have different kinds of options. How do you segment your time? You've got a lot of responsibilities, and the volunteer and the, you know, and the work and the family. How does that all work out?
You make it work. Being able to have Hemlock giving us that opportunity to volunteer as well, when you have to go during a work day, you don't have that guilt, because you don't have a guilt that it is something that we shouldn't be doing, right? We have that opportunity of getting our work done and being able to be flexible in our schedules. If that's for a family, if that's for a family event, if that's for a family emergency, for an appointment, being able to have that flexibility at HSC for work, community, and family, we couldn't ask for anything more.
So I'm glad about that. Is this a job that you can get a promotion from, or is this lead to more what?
It definitely leads to a greater understanding and the opportunity to be back in the manufacturing arena. I was in support of manufacturing before, and so yes, this role coming for someone to take this role has an opportunity for a promotion. This role can lead to a new horizon within HSC after as well.
There's been so much up and down with the whole business over the last, say, 8 years, something like that. What's the outlook now?
Oh, it's an excellent outlook. Kudos to our ELT, our executive leadership team, because they have taken us from a pivot point, right? We did have years ago, we weren't in a very good position after things had changed in the world, right? From a global perspective. And we met a pivot point, and we're continuing to grow. New opportunities, new technology that our polysilicon can be used for. Trying to really work at the carbon footprint, sustainability here in the United States, trying to establish and support a supply chain here directly in the United States as the market continues to grow, especially in the solar. We have been very well blessed with that continued support and understanding of where we are going to be in 5 years.
I notice you do a fair amount of sports. Is this a weekend tradition?
Yes, it's a weekend tradition, but one of the items that I love to do is golf. HSC actually has a golf league, so we can share that time with our fellow employees. But I enjoy golfing. I enjoy being up north, spending the time outdoors with my family, hiking, skiing. So yes, it's after work, but especially on the weekends.
What makes you an outstanding employee that they would trust you with this huge job?
I think I would have to say my thoughts of people, my understanding of supply chain, my understanding of contractual commitments, my leadership skills, my interactions with people.
I would guess you're highly respected, which is always good to be in any case. Anyway, we've learned a great deal, and I'm really appreciative that you came and sat down with me. So what did we learn? We learned that something that we didn't know really much about, Hemlock Semiconductors and its new plant, have a lot to do with our everyday items. Cell phones, yes, computers, what they make is important. But it's not only making it, it's making it at a standard that is very hard to do and to maintain. On the other hand, that's that analytical, what do I want to say, factual thing. A lot of leadership, whether it's in the family with her children or her team at the company, it all comes down to human inspiration, reliability, and bonding. It has to do with integrity, as she pointed out. It had to do with listening. It had to do with heartfelt passion. It had to do with forgiveness. And it helped that she also is believable. Be believable in your life. Thank you for tuning in. And remember, go out and do something kind for someone you know and someone you do not know. Do it every day, and I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm so appreciative myself.
To contact Junia, send her an email at juniadonsthespark@gmail.com. For more information, program schedules, and news about future guests, go to www.juniadonsthespark.com. Thank you for joining us. See you next time on Junia Doan's The Spark.
Local productions seen on Delta College Public Media are made possible with support from viewers like you. Thank you.